How you doing, guys? Big Mac Dan School here again today, or should I say, one of the chosen few. Not to be smug or anything, but what's got two thumbs and the first ever miniature produced and sold by hobby hero Louise Sugden? This guy! And seeing as though the rogue hobbyist herself did a boxing video for us, check it out up here or in the description below, I think it was only right that I do an unboxing in return. What a lovely box. The boxes were designed by Louise herself, and I believe she cut them by hand and had a team of grots help her with assembly. Inside the box, alongside each model and green paper nest, comes two cards, one with the simple assembly instructions, skills practiced in a previous job coming in very handy there, and the other with details of what number of the initial run of 50 the purchaser has. This is number 6 of 50. That's pretty cool for a couple of reasons. One, because it's the number I used to wear on the school rugby team, so I have a bit of an affinity with it. And two, because it's tantalisingly close to 1 of 50. You also get a base on which your goblin can stand, and of course the miniature itself, printed in fantastic detail. One of the advantages of a 3D printed miniature is that you don't have any mould release to scrub off, but I will give this a quick bath before priming, just to minimise the chances of any flaking paint in the future. Personally, I'll be aiming to get it pretty close to match the box art, with a few tweaks and putting my own spin on it here and there. Now the easy part's over, it's time to get some paint on this bad boy. Or should that be good boy? With the Rascal Town law still to be fully established, I think that's pretty open for interpretation at this point. I was watching a vid the other day from Jazzer, I think it was, discussing character design and what makes a character a hero or a villain. It'll be cool as more people get their hands on this model to see what colours they choose and how that makes the character read in terms of morality. Being a big fan of Louise's paint style since she burst onto the scene a good few years back now, I draw a great deal of inspiration from both her painting style and her approach and attitude towards the hobby in general. That's one of the reasons I wanted to stick so close to the box art, but I then follow my own path despite having a clear end goal in mind. This allows me a certain amount of creative freedom in exploring specific paints and colours I have, while being able to reference the box art. I can drive towards a destination which is clearly signposted for me. When Louise left her previous job at Games Workshop and went rogue, it made total sense for me to start expressing my support. I knew that she communicates in a way that's easy for me to understand and that enables me to learn new methods and therefore improve my painting standard overall. Not only do I benefit from the expertise of such a creator, I draw a lot of hobby energy and motivation from them. The same could be said of my mate Kez from Let's Make It Orky, 6plus Stevo and Josh from the Pickle Jar, whose content has helped keep me motivated at various times since I got back into the hobby around 10 years ago. There's something super wholesome about seeing creators like Louise stream, painting or just talking about minis and some other aspect of the hobby, all while interacting with the live chat, which admittedly can get a little hectic at times. I guess what I'm getting at is that I've really come to appreciate that you should support the creators that you benefit from the most. After all, doing this kind of thing full time isn't possible without people like you and me helping out. And I know not everyone can support financially on a regular basis through Patreon or whatever platform the creator might use, which is why I think creators like Louise at Rogue Hobbies, Guy and Hattie at Midwinter Minis, and Nick at IdicBeer40k are super smart to make things like merch or their own minis available to purchase, and that extra revenue stream helps top up the coffers, even though it may only be a small percentage that gets back to the creator. Financial support is one thing, but The bread and butter of any content creator has to be the interaction they get with the communities they spawn. So don't fret if you can't afford to support them monetarily. Maybe consider watching ads before the video, or sharing the content to a group that has yet to be exposed to it, or on your social media feeds, because there's always someone who's hearing of them for the first time. I suppose I should tell you a bit about what's going on screen too. Well, as you may have gathered from the pictures I stuck up earlier in the vid, I use what many people refer to as slapshot method to get most of this model done. Many people dismiss slapshot as a lazy technique for people who want to cut corners, but the truth is it's actually a few techniques bolted together, used by people with a number of goals in mind. My overall goal with employing these methods was to get a vibrant end product reminiscent of Louise's own work. You might have noticed that the first colour I primed with was a bright pink, Rat-tail pink from TT Combat to be precise, a fantastic paint producer who aren't mentioned in enough vids like this. At least as far as rattler cans are concerned, that is. I've not used any of their brush on stuff yet. I then shot from above with Wraithbone from Games Workshop, followed by an Extreme Zenithal of Halford's White Primer. The way I primed meant there was relatively harsh Terminator line on the Goblin's nose. This wasn't going to be too much of a problem though, as I wanted the nose to be pinkish underneath and around the nostrils to give it that warm, ruddy look. So with just a little bit of blending work using Plaguebearer Flesh and Magos Purple, I achieved the look I was after. For those who are unfamiliar with my favourite method of painting green skin, the basics are as follows. Prime red, or in this case pink, Zenithal bone or white, 2 coats of Plaguebearer Flesh, and achromatic blue in the recesses. The idea is that the shadowed areas you get a natural but dramatic looking brown or orangey. On the highest areas you get the yellowish green, and the blue in the recesses makes the Plaguebearer read as a little more green. You'll notice that I painted the fish yellow rather than blue as it is on the box art. This was to double down and highlight the fact that the skin is supposed to be green and not yellow. Having a saturated yellow present means that there's little doubt what colour the skin is. The fur I also painted a different colour from the box art. This time I was influenced by some of the Beast Snaggerhawk miniatures I painted in the past. Orange fur being one of my favourites to really stand out from that green skin. I chose to do the frog in a combination of different greens, Gut Ripper Flesh and Scorpion Green, providing a bright but natural look. There was a small danger the goblin skin would look yellowy again with the green on the frog, but thankfully the danger was smaller than the frog itself. If there's anything else you'd like to know about how I paint my minis, and this one in particular, just drop me a question in the comments below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. The only other thing of note is how I made the wood on the base look all mossy, and it was simply using plenty of dirty down moss. I wanted the goblin to look like he was fishing from a pier or a small jetty, so I used coffee stirrers for planks, scoring them to get that weathered wood grain effect. The moss really sets it solidly in a damp environment in my opinion. And with that, the goblin's finished. Well, apart from his name that is. When I was thinking of potential names, one thing that popped straight into my head, he's number 6 of 50. But 6 just doesn't have much of a goblin ring to it for me. So I got on Google Translate and started changing it into different languages. Finally settled on the Finnish, Kuusi, which I think also sounds quite cute and suits his bright coloration. For now, I'll leave you with Kuusi spinning on the turntable, and I'll see you on the battlefield.